Communication Project by Corey Terrell. Table of contents will include the introduction, overarching goal, behavioral blend, potential barriers, solutions to noise pollution, and the action plan. Enlarging our conversation. Introduction. Every good conversation starts with good listening. Communication is best viewed as a continuous, complex, collaborative process of verbal and nonverbal meaning making. Communication is a complex idea that heavily relies on active listening. Effective communication is essential in building meaningful relationships in your personal and non-personal lives. Our perceptions impact how we receive and perceive information. Overarching goal. What is your overarching goal? My overarching goal is when I become defensive during a conversation, I shut down and withdraw. How am I going to overcome defensiveness? Maintain listening. Inhale the information. Focus on the information being received. Increase communication by knowing your overarching goal. So I identified that my overarching goal is to overcome defensiveness. An important part of communication is listening. Process learned through the reading. A process learned through the readings was inhaling and exhaling. Both are important. I need to focus more on the process of inhaling. Listening is an important part of the inhaling and exhaling process because you have to listen with an open mind, focus solely on the information being received. If you rely on preconceived notions, stereotypes, or biases, you'll miss the opportunity to connect with another person. This can also result in conflict or miscommunication. Behavioral blend. In completing the identity quizzes, I learned that my behavioral blend was an IS. The expectation from others is to be submissive and inspiring, more people-oriented than task-oriented. Sometimes shy side will inhibit your ability to impress. Focus is less on details and more on people's feelings. These qualities regarding your behavioral blend help you understand how you relate to others. Some of these qualities may be new and some may not surprise you. Knowing what your weaknesses and strengths are can help you better communicate with others. Your only resistance comes from those who want you to be more demanding and direct when things need to be changed. This is one of the areas that I need to improve on per my behavioral blend. No, your only resistance comes from those who want you to be more demanding. That's pretty accurate and most of my dealings. And when people want something that I'm uncomfortable with, it does become more difficult to communicate myself. So that's something that I've learned from this class that I plan to work on. Why don't we listen better? I've already started with part of the reason why. And things that make you feel uncomfortable makes it difficult for you to listen to the remaining information coming from the person that's talking. Conversations that start with accusations, attacking, labeling, judging, cause more conflict. Why don't we listen better? Why don't we speak to each other with respect and compassion? Why don't we speak to each other better? Why are we still not listening? Think about how you approached the person. What was the intent of the conversation? Where did you go wrong? Are you still listening to that person? Are they still listening to you? Potential barriers. People that are expecting a win-lose situation are dealing with emotional disturbance, sensitivity from a previous situation, and inflexible, have a difficult time communicating effectively. Other barriers are approach, ritual listening. appearing like you're listening, but not really listening. Perry Masons, putting somebody on the stand when asking questions. You're not really looking for the answer to the question because you've already found them guilty. Why questions? Constantly being inquisitive can put people on the defense and make it difficult for them to continue listening. Using not in phrases. Using the phrase, I understand. I understand is not always a positive situation or a positive phrase to say to someone, especially if you've not been in their situation at the time, whatever they might be going through. They may not feel like you truly understand because you truly have never been in their particular situation. Using but, the old saying, once you say but, everything before but is refuted. There are numerous barriers to communication. These are divided into mentality and approach. These are a symptom also of the flat brain syndrome, where you're constantly thinking about something else and you're not able to focus on the communication. There are different symptoms of the flat brain syndrome. It can also be a flat stomach syndrome and also constantly thinking with the brain. Solutions to noise pollution. One of the solutions talked about is the talker-listener card. When having a conversation with someone, reminding each other which one is the talker and which one is the listener helps alleviate some of the miscommunication. The talker is responsible for sharing the feelings, sharing the thoughts, without accusing, labeling, attacking, or judging. The listener is responsible to provide safety, understanding, and clarity without agreeing, disagreeing, advising, and defending. Action plan. This action plan was developed based on the concept of the 51-minute tips for better communication for business meetings. So I revamped it to go for a personal conversation or a regular conversation. Is this conversation necessary? Think of conversations as investments. Continually exercise the skills you learned regarding listening, communication, and responding. Think purpose, not right or wrong. Ask clarifying questions to reduce communication. Spiritual aspect. According to Wolven, the word listen is mentioned 88 times in the New International Translation version of the Bible. Listening is paramount when enlarging your spiritual conversation. If anyone is able to hear, let me listen. Let him listen. Revelations 13:9. That concludes my presentation. Thank you for listening.